professional, it's not fun for anyone. Cool. So, section 3 is based on climate. These questions were submitted by Generation Zero. How will you work to achieve environmental justice and protect vulnerable communities affected by climate change in Rongotai? Whoever wants to start?
I have already done some work with vulnerable communities in Aotearoa Bay and Breaker Bay. Rongotai is a very coastal electorate. We are at the front line of dealing with sea level rise. We are going to need to have constructive conversations with those communities, and they need to be conversations which reflect that people are scared and people have their whole assets, their livelihoods at stake because of climate change. And to me, an approach to doing that has to be one which is rational, reasoned, evidence-based and respects those people. I'd like to acknowledge James Shaw and the work that he's done on the adaptation plan. I think it's an excellent document, but what we now need to see is the policy being fleshed out and made into a workable approach.
I presume vulnerable community, you mean the coastal community? As I was saying, Rongotai has the longest coastline for any electorate, and we do have very unique problems that we face. And the climate change is real, and I acknowledge that. And incidents like Gabrielle is going to be frequent, and we need to deal with them. Now we need to invest into resilient infrastructure, not only for the future, but also to reinforce the infrastructure that we already have. And that is what National will invest in.
Absolutely agree that the risks from sea level rise really affect this community, and obviously James Shaw and the Greens have been leading work both to reduce emissions and to ensure that we're prepared to adapt. I'm really proud of the Green Party's Climate Safe Communities Plan. I encourage you all to check it out. It's about reducing emissions and adapting, especially to more frequent and severe rain events and drought. I've been working with the Houghton Valley community who've been trying to address issues around contamination in the marine reserve that stems from an old tip. And there's really awesome opportunities that would be funded through our Nature-Based Solutions Fund that would help that community achieve its desires around managing stormwater effectively, bringing nature into the city, and adapting.
The key is around that adaptability and resilience. Resilience comes first. We need to be prepared for the major events that are coming. But in terms of sea level rise and impact on our city, I don't see an issue there. That level of climate change is not real. We don't see it happening. We need to keep. The Coromandel got damage from on top, not from sea level rising. So that happens around. We have to adapt and build in the resilience that we need and use our, again, climate funds that go overseas to keep them in New Zealand and build our own resilience.
Okay. Just a short question. Will you commit to putting in place systems for households to divert food waste from landfill to community composting systems, such community gardens? What specific projects are you going to put in place to help with sustainability?
Yes, absolutely. The Greens have been leading on this since the Waste Minimisation Act, which was a Green MP's bill, Nandor Tanchas. We've got local representatives, Deputy Mayor Laurie Foon and others who are absolute champions at the local level. And as a local MP working for green solutions, I'd be partnering with the community, with the different groups. There's so many groups like Kai Cycle and Seeds to Feed, so many cool local groups in this community that are passionate about finding solutions to reduce waste and to manage our land better.
Composting is such a simple and effective thing to do. Just do it. We don't need government to tell us to do it. We can just do it ourselves. Go for it.
Yes, absolutely. There's much more work to be done on food waste minimisation and reform in the waste space. I think that there is a lot of partnership, a lot to be gained through working with the council in partnership, and I too want to acknowledge Laurie Foon and her world-leading work in this area.
National Party actually voted with Labour to be part of the Paris Accord, and also we supported the 2030 emissions targets bill as well. And we would support any initiatives that will actually meet our targets, but it is a city council issue. The city council will be supported in achieving those goals. I have to say, we have to be realistic about where we draw the line. We have to, well, the National Party announced policies to electrify New Zealand, for example, to increase sustainable energy production in New Zealand. So we will support initiatives that will meet our target goals.
I'm going to open it up to writer of reply now.
I completely agree with Karuna. We need to be realistic. If we don't reduce greenhouse gas emissions to zero very fast, we won't be able to adapt. So reducing emissions has to be our #1 priority. And there are so many opportunities to do so in a way that will help improve people's lives. The only barrier is a lack of political will and a lack of willingness to take on vested interests who are profiting from the status quo. But we can do it together because we are more numerous than those vested interests. And your votes are really powerful. We will continue organizing until we get the change we need to have a sustainable future where everyone can thrive.
Just a quick thing then, if you want to talk, Chris?
Reducing our emissions would not really make much difference in the worldwide. It's not going to change the events that happen in Gabrielle. It's not going to change the flooding that's happening around. It's not going to change the rainstorms.
Emissions in the world.
New Zealand has 0.017% of impact on the world, so why bother? Not why bother. Why go to all that effort?
Why bother saving the world? It's not like no one has to live on it.
I think it's really sad that we are seeing in a mainstream political debate climate denialism.
That's right.
Climate change is real. And the sooner you realise that, I wish you were right, I really wish you were right. It would be fantastic if you were right, but unfortunately it's not the case.
In 50 years you'll be seeing.
But also our population is even smaller than our contribution. I mean, New Zealanders want to do the right thing. We're ready to step up. What is this lack of ambition saying because we're a small nation we can't pull our weight when we have everything to gain from it?
We can do it. We can do the sensible stuff, be responsible with our resources, responsible with how we build things and everything else, but go spending all our economic effort in trying to stop climate.
I'm going to jump to Karuna real quick. Karuna's been a bit quiet. I'd like to hear your opinion on this. I'd like to hear your opinion on the conversation.
Roads.
I already stated.
Just
Federated farmers. Woohoo!
This is one of the struggles that I have. I'm always drowned by ideological blindness and also racism, discrimination. So please do not give me a chance. Give me a chance to speak. If you ask me to say something, allow me to say.
Put it up.
Well, I already stated climate change is real, and we supported the targets that Labour Party put together, and we voted with them. And what else can I say? I actually categorically said that we need to be real. Now, being real is not bringing the emission to zero. If you want to go back to zero in the Stone Age, we are not going to go forward. We need to be realistic.
all right, Karuna, I'm going to have to ask you to wrap it up.
Thank you.
Cool. Just to close off this section, can I see hands up if you believe that climate change is real? Climate change, rising emissions, all of that. Do you believe that climate change is real?
Climate change happens, but whether it's man-made.
Okay. We're going to move on to the next section then. Section 4 is housing. We've just got one main question for this one. So housing, increasingly unaffordable in Rongotai, both for home